Hold up, cutie. Are you under 18? Time to go play somewhere else. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast with Affiliate Tag Loft. Today we're going to be talking about uncircumcised penises and what to do with them. I need to remind you guys, if you're under 18, time to exit the podcast. Ready? Let's have some fun. Hey guys, Feely here. Welcome to the podcast that I don't know what to call it yet, but we'll get to that in a minute. I am super excited to talk about our subject today, which is going to be uncut dick. And really stoked. But first, I want to take care of a couple quick housekeeping notes. First things first, like I said, this is the first episode of the podcast, which will be from here on out a weekly thing, along with all the other fun weekly things that we do together. I don't know what to call it, and every time I came up with a name, I would be like, I don't know. So I'm going to put that out to you guys. If you can think of what we should call this thing, whatever it is we're doing, this thing where we're going to laugh and talk about sex and play games and otherwise have a great time together, please tweet it to me at Ophelia Tagloff. You can send it to me on Tumblr, or you can send it to me on the website, which is the second announcement that I want to give. I am proud owner of brand spanking new website, AffiliateTagloff.com, and I'm super excited, not because I am leaving Tumblr. I have been there for quite a while, and I'm going to continue to do so because you guys are my freaky little people, and I love you, but because we are expanding and moving into a whole new arena, that being a freestanding website. And there's going to be a lot of my greatest hits blog posts that I am sure a lot of you have seen. And there's going to be new content like this and other fun things. So there you go. Make sure to head there, AffiliateTagloff.com. If you wanna, you can sign up for email updates. And if anything happens, I will send out a message. Thanks a lot, and I will see you guys there. Okay, shall we? Here we go. The first thing I want to do is give a little bit of a warning. I'm going to do my very, very best to be all-inclusive. Part of what I really want to do with my work is make sure that all genders, orientations, and identities are represented, because people of all genders, identities, excuse me, and orientations are having sex and deserve to have sex education that works for them. So I'm not going to be just saying that it's a man with a penis. I could be saying it's a penis haver. Or I could just be talking about penises themselves. And I know that that might get awkward sometimes, but it's important for us to recognize that it's not just men who have that anatomy. So bear with us. It's something that hopefully you'll get used to over time. And if I stumble over my words or favor one way of saying it more than another, I don't mean to. This is being recorded live, and I'm ashamed to tell you how many times I actually stopped this because I flubbed my words or made a noise or said something that I'm like, I probably don't want to say that and have it posted on the internet. So we're just going to try to motor through this and get this shit done, because that's what I am doing this morning. I'm getting this shit done. The second thing I want to do, segueing beautifully, is I'm going to swear. Obviously, this podcast is for adults. I said that at the beginning. There's going to be sexually explicit information here. So when I can't just keep saying the word penis over and over and over again, 25 times in 3 minutes, penis, 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 I am going to veer off into swearing just to give us something different to say. So you might hear me say dick or cock or ass or clit or pussy or cunt or something else. And if it is not your word of choice, if it's not how you identify with that body part, please bear with me. It's very difficult for us to find a common language because we don't talk about sex in our society as much as we probably should. So bear with me. The information is there. If you can just look past it, I'm warning you, there's going to be a lot of adult language. So we're going to cover anatomy. We're going to cover blowjobs and handjobs, and we're going to cover safety. The first thing we're going to do is get into, I made some notes because I'm such a fucking dork. Intro to the circumcised penis. That's literally what I wrote down. That's how dorky I am. I'm going to try not to make this sound like sex ed in 8th grade. The swearing will probably help with that, honestly. So there you go. The first thing you have to know about dicks is that they're not as sensitive. A cut penis is not as sensitive as an uncut penis. If you are the proud and happy owner of a clitoris, you probably know. And if you don't, I'm happy to tell you that, lucky us, a clitoris is so much more sensitive than a penis. If you know, so many more nerve endings, but also because it's tucked up inside the labia and it's underneath the hood, and that keeps it from having constant friction against clothing or undergarments. Although if you've had one of those like hours-long masturbation sessions where you're like, I have completely burned off my clit, that's probably too much information. But I know that there's a few of you out there that know what I'm talking about. And that dulls down the sensitivity, and it takes a while for it to return. Well, when a penis is circumcised and it's constantly rubbing against his clothing, it causes it to lose some sensitivity over time. The great news about uncircumcised penises is that that doesn't happen. The foreskin generally covers the entire head, and it keeps it from losing that sensitivity. So number one thing I want you to remember, and I'll get into why that's important later, but an uncut dick, much more sensitive than one that's cut. A man with a penis who is circumcised is going to generally tell you that the most sensitive areas are the frenulum, which is that little piece of loose skin below the head, the corona, which is the ridge around the head of the dick, and his circumcision scar. If you are uncut, great news. The entire head of your dick is going to be so, so, so sensitive. I'm sure this is not news to any men who are listening who have uncut penises. But, yeah, so much more sensitive. The foreskin can take a fair bit of abuse. I hate to say abuse, that sounds so mean. All my dom feels are coming out. But it could take a fair bit of pressure that you wouldn't be able to put directly on the head of his dick. Now, the foreskin will move, and sometimes it doesn't move as far back on some penises as it does on others, but you can pull it down and you can pull it up, and you're not doing any, causing him any discomfort by doing that. So don't worry about it. Generally, and I hate to say generally because I hate making generalizations, because sexuality is a wide field and it is completely, there's no one rule across the board, but generally, uncut dicks, cut dicks, they're going to look very similar when they're fully erect. The foreskin's going to pull back, and it's going to look very, very common, very, very similar to a circumcised dick. I'm not going to get political, but I do want you guys to know that where I'm from in the States, I live outside of Philly, and I know that if you have been following me, if you're a reader of mine or what have you, you're going to know that I live in the Philadelphia area. It's the rule to circumcise our baby boys still, but that is an anomaly on the worldwide scale. The U.S. is the only country that routinely circumcises their baby boys. I'm not going to get into whether or not I think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm just going to tell you that. But hey, if you travel abroad, chances are you're going to be seeing a lot of uncut penises. And that is great, and that is wonderful. If you are a girl that lives in the States, or if you are in a relationship where you're about ready to have sex with someone who has an uncut dick, and you live in the States, it's super, super important to understand that this is what is natural. This is what is beautiful. This is what is the way that a dick really is. And there's nothing wrong or weird or dirty about that. Absolutely not. And I think that it is, do not get on your soapbox, feels. I'm going to get on my soapbox. It's, time for us to have that type of body positivity too. And that, uncut cock is just as gorgeous as a circumcised penis. I can't even believe I just put that on a t-shirt. That's like gonna be my tagline. Uncut cock. Body positivity for all. I'm fucking losing my mind. Okay, let's talk about safety and cleanliness. Because years ago, not that many years ago in the States here, we're talking like less than 20, people thought, you get your baby boy circumcised, because if you don't, it's dirty and it could cause infection, and it's just, you just don't want that extra bit of skin on his penis. Well, I've got some news for you. There's nothing inherently dirty about being uncircumcised. It's just a myth, guys. Sorry, guys. It is. Yeah, you should keep your uncut dick clean. I mean, that's the truth. But you should also, please, keep your cut dick clean, because if you don't wash a penis that is circumcised for like 3-4 days, do you think that that's going to be spick and span? I've got some news. No. I'm not putting that in my mouth. That's disgusting. Wash yourself. I mean, that goes for any genitalia. Of course, if you're not having, that's my dog. Go lay down. Of course, if you're not having proper hygiene, you're going to be dirty. All of those old studies about how, circumcision was the way to go, they favored circumcision. They've all been debunked. There is no major medical association that recommends circumcision in the United States today, even though we're the only nation who does it routinely. Yay. Viva l'America. I don't even know what I'm saying now. As far as the dick cheese, or the proper term from that, kids, is smegma, but you know what I mean. That actually has antibacterial properties. That just washes off. It's not like it's the end of the world. Bodies make fluid, and that's part of what human bodies do. So don't worry about it. If you have issues with that, nothing wrong with starting that blowjob in the shower. Hey, worse things have happened. So the first important, now that we've got all that background about anatomy and cleanliness and how we are remembering, if you take only one thing from this podcast, I want you to remember there's nothing dirty, wrong, unnatural, weird, creepy about an uncut dick. And if you go into any romantic or sexual situation where you are looking at any part of your partner's body and thinking that there's something weird about it, you need to get your head on straight, because human bodies are beautiful, and let's have that there we go, flubbing, that body positivity for all, no matter what their body looks like and what part of the body we're talking about. The first important thing we're going to talk about, though, is how do you put a condom on an uncircumcised cock? Here's the thing. I'm so glad that somebody sent me this, because there's actually a way to do it. Like, there's a technique, and I didn't even think about it until this person sent me the question. I was like, you know what, there is. And then I did a little research to make sure I was doing it right. And I found all of one YouTube video where this young woman wrapped like a paper towel around a dildo, and I'm like, this is the only information out there about how to put a condom on a natural dick. So, damn it, we're going to learn today. And I wish I had a camera, but maybe I'll do a video eventually. But right now, we're all going to learn how to do this. First thing, general condom safety, real quick. You are checking the expiration date. You're making sure that the package isn't punctured. You're not opening that wrapper with your teeth, because you can rip your condom and then it's worthless. Put the condom on your thumb. Make sure it's going to roll down the right way. Okay? And if you drop it on the floor, guess what? You have to get a new one. But it's okay, because they're like a dime a dozen. And, the alternative is not having safe sex. So go ahead and grab another one. Once you're holding his fully erect dick in your hand, you're going to push the foreskin as far back as it'll go, and you're going to hold it there. Okay? So you've got his dick in one hand. You're going to slide the foreskin back so it's fully retracted. Don't worry, you're not going to hurt him. I mean, you're not holding it like you're opening a bottle. You're just, holding it like with just like a regular grip, just hold the foreskin back and slide the condom down over the head and past where the foreskin starts. I would say 1/4 inch past, maybe a little more, past where the foreskin starts. Once you get that done, you're going to let the foreskin go, but still kind of hold the condom on there, and then let the foreskin, it's probably going to like move up on its own a little bit. And then I want you to pull the foreskin up as far as it'll go, over the head or up to the head, or as far as you can get it to go up. Again, you don't need to be worried about hurting him, but, use a little bit of kindness. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying now. Oh my God. So you're going to pull the foreskin up as far as it will go and slide the condom down the rest of the way. Here's why. Because during sex with a person who has an uncircumcised cock, that foreskin will move. And that gives him a lot of pleasure. And some women say it gives them, or some people on the receiving end says it gives them a feeling of more fullness or a nice sense of friction. So yay, all around. You want to make sure that that foreskin can move inside of the condom, and it's going to slide back and forth. Once you take it off, take the condom off, you're just going to hold the foreskin still, remove the condom, tie it off, throw it in the trash. Don't flush condoms. I just want to put that out there. I used to date a man. Okay, we didn't really date. I used to have sex with a man who would flush the condoms, and I was like in my early 20s, and I'm like, whatever. But that's really harmful to the environment. They're not going to biodegrade, people, especially in the septic system. Don't do that. You're going to throw them in the trash. Okay. The other thing I want to make sure is that when you are putting on a condom on any penis, you're going to put a little drop of lubricant inside of the head. That makes it a lot more pleasurable for him. Okay, this is even more so the case with a dick that is uncut, because the head is so much more sensitive that a little bit of wetness inside the head of the condom is going to go a long way to having him enjoy it all the more. Okay. Okay, my phone rang, of course, in the middle of that, and I had to pause. So where were we? Tell these people not to call me. I'm talking about giving head and stuff. Blowjobs. Here's the thing. Giving a blowjob to an intact dick is going to give you an opportunity to use a little more finesse. When a person who is circumcised receives a blowjob, you kind of have to do a little more work, as Samantha from Sex and the City said. They don't call it a job for nothing. But yeah, you have to use a little more pressure, and it's you need a little more friction. The thing about being uncut is that the foreskin itself has, I think, 20,000 nerve endings in it. So there's that. The head is more sensitive. So it allows you to have a little bit more leeway, have a little bit more fun. And you get to try some interesting new techniques. Getting head, from the research that I did and from what I've heard of, obviously I don't have a penis. Well, not obviously. I don't have a penis. That's what it is. But getting head when you're cut is a lot less intense than when you're not. So let's talk technique. First thing, you're going to use a little less pressure when he is uncut, because you can actually cause him pain, and that's not the kind of pain that he probably would enjoy. Okay. You can play with the foreskin. You can nibble it, suck it fairly hard. You could pull it over the head, and then you can dip your tongue inside the foreskin and trace around the head with it while it's still inside, running your tongue between the two. And I just want to remind you, don't forget to tell your partner how much their dick turns you on, how much you love the way it looks, the foreskin. That goes a long way to, building a solid, exciting, intimate sexual experience, whether it's a one night or whether it's a long-term relationship. We all need to hear that our bodies are beautiful, even their most intimate parts. Okay. I, when I was doing research, I found this information. It was like a Yahoo answers questions thing, and I forget the guy's name, but once I find you, buddy, I'm going to give you full credit for this because he just went all out describing exactly how his wife went down on him, and God, I love that. So basically, without stealing his content fully, I'm going to give you some bullet points. Apparently, his wife likes to start with the foreskin still covering the head. She pulls on it. She can bite on it fairly hard, he says. So, yay for that. Have a little fun there. Also, you can slide the foreskin up over the head, back and forth, and lick the frenulum. The frenulum for a man who is uncircumcised is what connects the foreskin to, it's like the little membrane that connects the foreskin to the penis. If you want to kind of get an idea of what that looks like, or feels like rather, if you take your tongue and put it between your gum and your upper lip, that little membrane there, that is, a good indicator of what you're going to be looking at when you pull his foreskin down and you see that there is a membrane that can, connects the two. So you can tongue that, have a little fun there. If you fully retract the foreskin, okay, once it's fully back, that whole shaft is going to be fairly sensitive. So you can wrap your mouth around that. Have a little fun. I feel like I should be charging by the hour, but remember, I was asked this question for science. So there you go. And this is a technique that's good for penises that are cut, uncut, whatever. But if you take your thumb and forefinger and you squeeze him at the base of his dick, it's going to make sort of like a makeshift cock ring, and it's going to help him feel harder, be harder, and increase his pleasure. So make sure you can hold it there, and you can squeeze fairly hard, and it will help increase his erection and help him usher him into receiving more pleasure. You can, just remember to slide that skin up and down over the head. That is, when you're giving a BJ, you want to make sure that your hands are involved. The good news, like I said, it's a lot less work, and I hate to say work because, nice work if you can get it. Hey, but when I'm saying work, I mean that when you are familiar with giving head to a person who is cut, you're familiar with that bobbing up and down, and your neck hurts, and you're really wanting to give him pleasure, but there's a fair bit of effort involved. And when you have a lover that is uncircumcised, the pressure can be a lot less, and he will get even more significant pleasure from it. So, yay for that. You get to play a little bit and not have to do, those hard, intense porn star moves that I know you've got. So, let's talk about giving a hand. Hand jobs. The thing about giving a man who is not cut a hand job is that the foreskin should slide back and forth over the head. Other than that, it's basically the same information. That's just so weird to say. It's basically the same, dead air, the same as you would with a penis that is cut. You're squeezing the balls and you're talking to him and you're biting his neck and whatever else you want to do. You're kissing him. But what the penis haver would really enjoy is having that foreskin slid back and forth over the head. The great thing about having that foreskin, though, is that your hand is going to have a nice, smooth pumping action without as much lube. Okay. Great thing about sliding the foreskin back and forth over the head is that you don't need to use copious amounts of lube like you would if your partner was circumcised, because you never want to give a hand job without lube. But if your partner is natural and uncut, that foreskin will allow a nice fluid motion of your hand back and forth over the head. When I do want to repeat that a lot of the time when they have an erection, cut guys and uncut guys look pretty much the same down there. But, sliding that foreskin back and forth is what is going to give him a lot of pleasure. If the frenulum, remember we talked about the frenulum that connects the foreskin to the shaft of his cock? If it's tight, the frenulum, and you just start to pull on it, it can be extremely pleasurable. But if you pull on it too hard, it could cause him pain. So take your time getting started there and ask him if he needs more. If you have any questions, there's always the option of asking him to jerk off for you, and then you can watch. And that's fun for everybody. Second, you do not need to do those marathon jerking off movements that you need to do with a guy who is circumcised. The secret to masturbating him when he is uncut is a nice, methodical, gentle, slow massage that lets the foreskin slide back and forth over the head. And don't forget that you can also pull it back and do a little mouth action, and then we're back to giving a blowjob. But hey, that's fine too. Mix it up. Because this is I hesitate to say this because it sounds like I am very much biased to guys that are uncut, and that might or might not be true. That's not my place to say in this podcast. But another thing is that I'll just say that in the research I have done as a consummate professional, I have read that unlike men who are circumcised, you can engage a little bit more in dirty talk and fantasy, and he won't. They tend to be a little bit more sensitive to that back and forth. Yeah, there's a joke there. And they tend to be a little bit more sensitive to that, give and take. Let's call it a give and take instead of a back and forth, because the pleasure is so much more intense, and the effort for both of you is so much less that that it enables you to have a little bit more playtime, a little bit more leeway in the type of play that you can have when you're jerking them off. So, yeah, there you go. Let's talk intercourse. Sex with a man who is uncut tends to not be that jackhammer. I used to call it grasshopper sex because there was a guy and there was a story there, but I'm not going to get into that now. But it's a lot less that hard, fast hammering you into the mattress thrusting that you're going to get with your general circumcised guy. Again, because they can be a lot more sensitive. They, you can expect sometimes a little bit more finesse, and if you're on top and you're controlling the rhythm, you might want to use a little more finesse, like an undulating motion as opposed to bouncing up and down. Hey, I'm all for bouncing up and down. I'm just saying, this is the research that I've done. When the condom is put on properly, remember we're always practicing safe sex, unless we're in a fluid bonded relationship. But when the condom is put on properly, the foreskin's going to glide back and forth over the head, and that's going to increase the pleasure for him. And some partners who have circumcised lovers say it increases the pleasure for them. So yeah, that's great. Most important thing that I want to go back to is that the key to, and this is for all of my sweet anonymous questions that asked me about how to have sex with a circumcised man, the key to pleasuring him or anybody is being comfortable and accepting a person that you are in a sexual relationship or a sexual situation with is always going to be able to tell if you're being put off by a part of their body. Circumcised, stretch marks, natural breasts, body hair, they're always going to be able to tell if you're a little bit squicked out. So practice your acceptance and enjoy the person who is attached to that and lavish that attention on them. That is my absolute number one tip. Definitely get into the moment and really enjoy it. If you're nervous because you don't know what they look like what do uncut dicks look like, it's as simple as taking your safe search off on Tumblr and Googling that. Absolutely, you can easily find photos of natural cock there, and then you'll know what you're getting into, or what. Yeah. Remember, communication is, I'm just like fucking losing it here. Communication is key, and you're going to always, in any situation, ask your partner what they like, because I can tell you what I've researched and I can tell you my experience, but at the end of the day, there's no substitute for actually speaking to your partner and finding out what it is that they enjoy when they pleasure themselves and what they think about you doing to them. So that's my advice to you, loves. Have fun, be safe, enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for navigating this learning curve with me as I stumbled over my words and had to pause because my phone rang and my dog barked and who even the fuck knows. I love you lots, and I'll see you later. Bye.